Hello friends and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am so excited to be celebrating Trinity Stamps' 8th birthday with a brand new release and this wonderful YouTube hop filled with so much inspiration. There is a giveaway going on below. Check the description in my YouTube video for details for how you can enter. For today's video, I will be using the new Waffle texture Coverplate die and the Sweet Stack Layers Coverplate die to make an adorable ice cream inspired creation. Now I'm going to pull in two different pieces of craft cardstock from my collection, along with a aqua piece of cardstock, a light pink cardstock, and a white cardstock to come up with the base for my color palette on this card. Now, using the Waffle texture Coverplate die, I am going to die cut one of my pieces of craft cardstock so that I am going to get that waffle texture perfectly cut and ready to go for our card. I'm then going to use the other piece of craft cardstock and I'm going to layer these directly on top of each other using a little bit of liquid adhesive. Once I get enough liquid adhesive where I feel comfortable with the amount to cover the back of this panel, I am going to adhere it directly on top of this piece of craft cardstock, and it's going to give us that beautiful sort of waffle cone effect. And I just love how these two different colors of craft cardstock work together to create this layering. While it is a tone-on-tone effect, I love that they're not identical colors and they give a little bit of a variance. Now, with my background waffle cone inspired layer completed, we can move on to a little bit of additional die cutting. I'm going to pull in that light pink cardstock and white cardstock to do a little bit of die cutting with the Sweet Stack Layers die cut collection. I am going to use my pink cardstock to die cut the drips and the white cardstock to die cut the different little highlights. I want to do a little bit of ink blending though before we put those highlight die cuts into place, so I'm going to pull in some Stellar ink from Simon Hurley Creates in the Prom Queen color using a blending buddy just to sort of blend the bottom of our drips. And this is going to give a nice variation of color. I love these subtle little bits of shading, and it's going to really punch quite a bit of a detail for the end of our project. With my ink blending completed, I'm going to use a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back of our little highlight die cuts, and I want it to look like the little drips of ice cream are sort of glistening, and these little highlight die cuts definitely allow us to do that. Now, I'm sort of playing into which highlight fits with which drip. The longest drip is the longest highlight, the medium drip is the medium highlight, and then that little bump towards the top has the smallest little highlight portions. Now, I want to do a little bit of embellishment as well. Using the sprinkles die cut that's included in the Sweet Stack Layers die set, I have pulled some colorful scraps from my pattern paper scrap collection, and I'm going to use these to die cut a bunch of little sprinkles to decorate our drips of ice cream with. Now, what I'll be doing is using just liquid adhesive and doing just sort of little sections that I'm going to add some dots to, and then I'm going to put this colored cardstock into place, just sort of carefully dropping them, trying to keep the colors as varied as possible, trying not to put two colors and two similar shapes directly next to each other. So I'm just sort of adding it all together, and I love how these colors look on top of the pink ice cream base. This is just so much fun, and I can just imagine how many smiles someone would get if they had a pink ice cream cone with this many sprinkles. So I'm going to kind of measure out where this layer is going to get adhered, and I determined that I want to get a little bit of lift to our back panel. So I figured, why not pull in some 3mm foam strips, and this is going to give a little bit of dimension to our card. I also think it's going to give the illusion that that ice cream is a little removed from the actual waffle cone back itself, and I think it also just adds to that overall special factor. Once I get my 3mm foam strips put onto my back side, I am going to put my drip layer into place, and then I've got another element finished with my card. Now, moving on, we're going to work on our sentiment, and I want to use the sentiment that says happy birthday to you, included with the Sweet Stack Layers die set. So I have used that aqua cardstock, die cut the shadow layers using the aqua cardstock, and then die cut the letters for happy birthday to you from the white cardstock that we pulled previously. Now, a little tip, I do like to add the center letter first because I feel like this allows me to get nice spacing for all of my letters, that I don't start from the H and then by the time I get to the Y, I feel like things are a little crammed. I just feel like it really helps keep things nice and orderly. Now, using an acrylic block, I put some pressure on my happy word die, and I'm going to begin the process of assembling the birthday word as well. I put the D down first just to help with that spacing like I mentioned earlier, and then I will just sort of work through getting each individual letter nicely into place using craft tweezers and liquid adhesive. Another item that I think is important to point out is that these letters are a little on the narrow side, which means you don't want to go overboard with that liquid adhesive. So if you think you get a little bit too much on the back of those letters, that when you press it down, it may sort of ooze out from underneath, I recommend just sort of wiping a little bit off or tapping it on your finger just to get that excess adhesive off, because you really just want it to nicely lay onto the shadow layer and just have enough of a little bit of adhesive that is required to hold it securely into place. Now, another thing that I think is nice about using liquid adhesive when it comes to these letters is that liquid adhesive does give you that couple extra seconds of wiggle room time that you're able to ensure that your die cuts are nicely put into the position you want them to. It's not like they're touching the paper and immediately locked into place, unlike using a dry adhesive or even some foam tape options. Now, I also want to do a little bit of extra dimension with our sentiment as well. So I've actually decided to use those same 3mm foam strips on the back of our sentiment that we used for the ice cream drips on our card. So using these foam tape strips, I'm going to just sort of nicely put all of the backing onto place. Removing the backing, then I'm going to start by putting my letters nicely onto my panel. And similar to how I space the individual letters for each word, I am also going to start by placing birthday down first, because I'm going to have my sentiment in 3 layers. It's going to say happy on top, birthday in the middle, and to you on the bottom. And by me knowing that the birthday is exactly in the centered position I want it, I know that I can put happy and to you above and below it and put it perfectly nicely into place. Now, we're going to use some liquid adhesive on the back of our panel to get it added to our card base. I did off camera prepare that A2 size card base, so it just makes it really easy to put that liquid adhesive on and pop it on. I like to recommend having a handful of pre-made card bases on hand because it does make it easier once you get to the end stages of your card to just put everything together. With my card panel secure on my card base, I do want to add a little bit of subtle embellishment, so I decide to use the Champagne Twinkle Stardust Rhinestones from Trinity Stamps, and I am going to use just a small amount of them to add a little bit of sparkle to our card. Now, I use the rhinestones sort of around the sentiment just to help give that card that little extra sparkle, and I really love how the champagne color complements the earthiness of the craft cardstock underneath. I think that this is a really fun pairing, especially that we've got all those different colored sprinkles on the top panel of our card. With all of my rhinestones in place, our card is fully completed, and I just adore how this all turned out. Thank you so very much for stopping by my channel today and checking out how all of these fun little embellishments got put together to make this really fun ice cream inspired birthday card. I hope that this card provides you with some really fun inspiration for what you can create using this brand new release from Trinity Stamps. Now, don't forget, this is a YouTube release hop and there is so much inspiration to be had, so make sure to use the link below to find the playlist for all of the inspiration created for today's YouTube hop, and also don't forget to head on over and enter the giveaway for the $25 Trinity Stamps gift card. Thank you once again for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Goodbye.